In a surprising recent interview, LeBron opened up about his connection with Kobe, stating it was far from strong. "Kobe and I never forged a genuine bond," he admitted. But that's not all he's discussing. He's boldly voicing what many have kept silent regarding why certain players, including himself, found it hard to appreciate Kobe. From his notorious clash with Shaq to the chilly separation he maintained from his fellow players, I got all the details. Let's dive right in. The fierce competition that shaped a generation. We begin in the mid-2000s, a time when the NBA was undergoing significant transformations. Michael Jordan had retired, leaving an open space at the pinnacle that every top-tier athlete aimed to occupy. It is in this context that an 18-year-old LeBron James burst onto the scene, fresh out of high school, shouldering the expectations of being labeled the chosen one on the cover of Sports Illustrated. At the same time, Kobe Bryant, a three-time champion, is at the zenith of his abilities, exemplifying what he would famously term the Mamba mentality. Our passions align, though our expressions differ. This is where the narrative takes a twist, as LeBron's recent insights start to uncover a harsher reality regarding Kobe's image around the league. While LeBron and Kobe would go on to foster a bond rooted in mutual admiration, the same connection was not shared by numerous other players who faced the Black Mamba during his peak. The initial insight into the deep emotions NBA players felt towards Kobe stems from his unique perspective on competition. Kobe's fierce drive to win, along with his prolific shooting style and divisive persona, likely sparked tension among some athletes. It transcended mere competitiveness. It involved a psychological strategy that is rare and remarkably potent in NBA history. Take Danny Green's perspective, a former teammate of LeBron, who shed significant light on this dynamic. On the All the Smoke podcast, Danny Green shared that as a young fan, he initially disliked Kobe for mimicking Michael Jordan, but his perspective shifted after playing against him. Green's experience merely scratches the surface of the intense emotions Kobe stirred among his peers. The psychological dimension of Kobe's game was arguably his most lethal tool, a point LeBron has elaborated on in recent discussions. Unlike many elite players who let their skills speak for themselves, Kobe was known for penetrating his rivals' mental fortitude, aiming to unsettle them before any physical confrontation occurred. This strategy, while highly effective, fostered a degree of bitterness that transcended typical competitive spirit. Ignite the energy, and it lifts everyone's spirits, and they take off. You need to figure out who you can influence. Those are your targets. However, the animosity some NBA players harbored towards Kobe went beyond mere mental strategies or fierce competitiveness. There were more profound, personal issues tied to the controversies that lingered around him throughout his career. Bryant's controversies, notably the 2003 sexual assault allegations, are crucial to comprehending the reasons behind the disdain some felt. It transcended basketball entirely. This focused on integrity, ethics, and the influence of a player's behavior off the court on their standing with others in the league. The sexual assault charges against Kobe in 2003 fundamentally altered the way many players and fans regarded him. The case led to felony charges, which were dropped in September 2004 when the accuser chose not to testify, resulting in a civil settlement. Despite Kobe's continuous claims of innocence, his standing among fellow players suffered immediate and enduring harm. LeBron has noted how these scandals shaped the league's view of Kobe, yet he has consistently shown respect for his future teammate on the Lakers. During a March 2025 discussion on The Pat McAfee Show, LeBron shared how their connection shifted from one of rivalry to a brotherly bond. This transition particularly took shape after he joined the Lakers in 2018, yet it was preceded by a lengthy history of intricate dynamics influenced by Kobe's career-related controversies. The ramifications of these off-court challenges on Kobe's NBA relationships are significant. Individuals who might have admired his skills began to doubt his integrity, leading to a decline in sponsorships, a drop in jersey sales, and crucially for a narrative, the harmonious relationships usually shared among NBA stars became strained for an extended period. Moreover, there's an added dimension to this narrative concerning the resentment his playing style generated among fellow players. His tendency to shoot frequently and focus on his own game led some to label him as arrogant, with pieces emphasizing views of him as a ball hog. It wasn't merely the quantity of his attempts, but rather a core philosophical divide regarding basketball's essence. Personally, I enjoy working in the post. The physical nature of it excites me. He's definitely been spending more time on the perimeter, which is quite fascinating given that he stands at 6 feet 10 inches and weighs around 280 pounds. Personally, I prefer the low post game and the physicality that comes with it. A lot of players in the league saw Kobe's style as self-serving, focusing more on his own stats and achievements rather than the overall success of the team. This viewpoint proved especially harmful, as it originated not only from rivals, but also from teammates and past colleagues who had observed his methods firsthand. The most prominent illustration of this situation was undoubtedly his famous rivalry with Shaquille O'Neal, a dynamic that can help explain why numerous other NBA players fostered negative sentiments toward the Black Mamba. The dispute between Kobe and Shaq went beyond a clash of titans. It highlighted two fundamentally distinct styles of leadership, collaboration, and what it meant to embody a franchise's identity. Their conflicts characterized their Lakers tenure from 1996 to 2004, during which they secured 3 straight championships. Yet their relationship was marred by personal disagreements and disputes over their respective roles. The damage to Kobe's reputation among his contemporaries stemmed not only from the feud itself, but also from its public unfolding. Notable incidents included Shaquille branding Kobe as selfish during a team gathering, coupled with Kobe's sexual assault arrest, which intensified the situation. During a police interview, Kobe alleged that Shaquille had paid women to keep silent about his affairs. These were far more than mere competitive clashes. They were personal jabs that exposed the deep-seated hostility between two of the sport's greatest icons. The fallout from the Shaquille dispute reached well beyond their partnership. Other league players observed the inability of these two champions to work together, and many began to identify Kobe as the principal cause of the turmoil. Whether justified or not, many believe that Kobe's strong sense of self and his desire to be the go-to player led to the departure of one of the league's most formidable centers. This view was bolstered by various incidents, such as his use of a homophobic term in 2011 and his public trade request in 2007, which perpetuated negative sentiments. Each scandal, every public disagreement, and every perceived grievance with teammates or rivals contributed to the growing resentment some NBA players harbored towards Kobe Bryant. It represented a fundamental divide between his famed Mamba mentality and the team-oriented nature that numerous players considered crucial for sustained success. The Mamba mentality, articulated by Kobe, encompassed a relentless pursuit of greatness and a fierce dedication to victory, adopting a mindset that could be seen as merciless. However, LeBron has recently shed light on how this mindset, though yielding remarkable personal achievements, often strained connections with teammates and rivals. The takeaway remains clear. The aim is to step onto the court and assert your dominance. There are no breaks. The moment the game or practice begins, you're fully immersed in that intensity. All of life is a Game 7. This phrase from Kobe, reflecting on his talks with LeBron about the essence of a killer instinct, highlights the fervor that characterized his style of play. However, LeBron has started to express more explicitly how this fervor, though impressive in certain aspects, fostered a climate where fellow players felt perpetually scrutinized, perpetually challenged, and perpetually inadequate in Kobe's view. The mental tactics that Kobe wielded were not limited to adversaries. They encompassed his teammates too. Tales of his intense training regimens and high expectations reached legendary status. However, many were unaware that these same criteria bred resentment among teammates who believed Kobe's tactics leaned more towards self-affirmation than the team's overall success. LeBron's insight into this situation holds great significance, as he embodies a distinctly different style of leadership and excellence. While Kobe sought perfection through a harsh and critical demeanor, LeBron has consistently prioritized teamwork and shared success. His adaptability, enduring presence, and off-court contributions, including the LeBron James Family Foundation and the I Promise School, illustrate an alternative vision of what it means to be a star athlete. The difference in these two styles clarifies why numerous NBA athletes gravitated toward LeBron's approach, yet felt alienated by Kobe's. It wasn't a matter of disregarding Kobe's achievements. His 5 championships and iconic moments were undeniable. However, the sacrifices required for those accolades, particularly concerning personal dynamics and team cohesion, formed a paradigm many players found difficult to accept. We share a mutual admiration that creates a foundation, allowing us to compete at our best effortlessly. A vivid illustration of this phenomenon is evident in the progression of Kobe's interactions with his fellow players during his career. The infamous clash with Shaquille O'Neal involved public arguments and even a physical confrontation, showcasing perceptions of individualism and team strife. However, this was not an abnormal occurrence. Instead, it reflected a recurring pattern with multiple teammates across Kobe's journey. Imagine a lockout year, Southwest College hosting a pickup game. We find ourselves on rival squads. Exactly. And all that smack talk. Sure, you repeatedly mentioned, yeah, get that tiny punk out of here. I'm glancing around. Oh, goodness gracious. Indeed. Okay, I responded just a moment. There won't be many more of those quiet moments, you know? So, tell me, what will you do about it? What action would you take in response? Suddenly, I spotted a massive hand approaching. This honest recall from their renowned personal interview shows the raw emotion that Kobe could elicit, even from those who triumphed by his side. Shaq's account of their physical clash in a practice game highlights how Kobe's fierce competitiveness sometimes blurred the line between inspiration and outright challenge. However, even more insightful is Shaq's contemplation of the significance of that incident for their collaboration. I observe this and realize he craves this. It influences him profoundly. In fact, it has taken hold of him. From then on, I recognized we shared a mutual understanding. This perspective from Shaq clarifies why a few players thrived alongside Kobe's fierce intensity, while others felt entirely detached from his style. Those capable of matching his fierce commitment and adopting his uncompromising mindset managed to translate that drive into championship victories. However, for numerous players across the league, Kobe's tactics seemed more akin to mental strain than genuine leadership. LeBron's recent remarks have illuminated this complex relationship, especially his insights on how Kobe's style impacted the wider NBA family. While reflecting on how their connection evolved, LeBron mentioned that their friendship deepened past rivalry as they attained significant career achievements. Yet, he's candid about the fact that Kobe's approach fostered divisions throughout the league that reached well beyond a Lakers circle. Kobe's approach to the game profoundly influenced team dynamics. His tendency for high-volume shooting, leading to more missed shots than any player until surpassed by LeBron in 2024, attracted criticism for being inefficient. However, the discontent extended beyond mere numbers. It represented a deeper philosophy. Many within the league perceived Kobe's decision-making as indicative of a self-centered mindset, prioritizing personal accolades over collective triumphs. This viewpoint proved to be particularly harmful, arising not solely from rivals, but also from impartial analysts and a few teammates. A 2018 piece from Bleacher Report pointed out that LeBron maintained a higher shooting percentage, 47.6%, as opposed to Kobe's 45.5%, along with a superior assist ratio, indicating different playing styles. These stats became fuel for detractors who contended that Kobe's individual excellence hindered overall team effectiveness. However, LeBron's insights on this critique offer a deeper appreciation of Kobe's philosophy. Rather than outright rejecting Kobe's strategies, LeBron has expressed how he gained valuable lessons from both the strengths and weaknesses of the Mamba mentality. His remarks, particularly those acknowledging Kobe's remarkable ability to perform under pressure in 2020, reflect admiration, not condemnation. The intricacies of this relationship become clearer when we examine Kobe's growth over time. In the early stages of his career, he faced sharp criticism for being overly self-centered and hogging the ball. Yet, as he developed both as a player and a leader, especially during his championship victories with Pau Gasol, many noted a transition to a more team-oriented style. Jerry handed the responsibility to Magic. Magic handed it off to you. It's safe to say you shared it with LeBron. This interaction between an interviewer and Kobe highlights his awareness of his place within the illustrious Lakers history. More significantly, it illustrates how his connection with LeBron marked a shift in his mindset toward mentorship and leadership. Instead of insisting that LeBron follow his specific techniques, Kobe appeared to appreciate that various players need unique strategies to achieve their best. Kobe's transformation in leadership is key to grasping how the resentment towards him diminished over time. Teammates who previously saw him as overly exacting and egocentric began to recognize a more evolved interpretation of the Mamba mentality, one that still pursued greatness but was more attuned to the requirements of his teammates and the overall team dynamic. He belongs to the Laker legacy, doesn't he? From the moment he joined, I mentioned, hey, if there's anything you require, just say the word. You're now part of our family and our tradition, so don't hesitate to reach out. Admiration forged in rivalry and genuine legacy. For numerous athletes, the pivotal moment in their connection with Kobe wasn't marked by extravagant displays or public reconciliations, but rather through the straightforward experience of fiercely competing against him on the grandest stage. I would be showing disrespect to LeBron if I didn't give my all when facing him. We push each other to improve, and that respect is what underpins our interactions. However, we are all fierce competitors at heart. The development of the bond between LeBron and Kobe serves as an exemplary illustration to comprehend this relationship dynamic. At first, their connection was defined by rivalry, as James surpassed Bryant as the premier player in the league during the late 2000s. However, instead of fostering enduring resentment, this competitive spirit laid the groundwork for a profound mutual admiration. One might evaluate someone solely based on appearances without understanding their true essence. He's undoubtedly a person you could enjoy being with regularly. At 35 years old, he's been around long enough to shape perceptions, despite what some may assume. That's where it has stemmed from. That's true insight. LeBron's comment on Kobe's growth and wisdom, shared in a 2009 interview, shows how his view of his rival was changing, even amid their fiercest competition. This wasn't the judgment of someone filled with animosity. This was a reflection of a colleague who was starting to grasp the profound reasons driving Kobe's tactics. The evolution of their connection intensified as they teamed up on the Olympic squads in 2008 and 2012. Competing side by side on these global stages nurtured a camaraderie that went beyond their previous competitive tension. For numerous NBA athletes, it marked the initial instance of witnessing Kobe in a team-centric setting, focused on shared objectives instead of personal accolades. However, the most pivotal change in how Kobe was viewed in the league stemmed from his mentoring efforts during his later years. When James became a Laker in 2018, their bond deepened, with Bryant embracing him as part of his family. This was more than two iconic Lakers sharing the court. It was about Kobe stepping into the role of a wise mentor and leader. The influence of his guidance reached beyond his bond with LeBron. In the twilight of his playing days and after retirement, Kobe sought to connect with younger talents in the league, providing support and imparting the knowledge he had gained over time. His Mamba mentality transformed from a personal drive for fierce competition into a powerful framework for encouraging greatness in others. LeBron has shared extensively how Kobe's transformation and approach not only altered their personal connection, but also shifted the perception of the entire NBA community regarding the Black Mamba. He voiced sorrow for not engaging in deeper discussions with Bryant, especially about their shared experience with the Lakers. This regret implies that as Kobe's retirement approached, LeBron saw him less as a rival to overcome and more as a mentor from whom he longed to learn. The heartbreaking reality of Kobe's passing in January 2020 offered the NBA community a profound understanding of his legacy and the intricate emotions he inspired during his career. LeBron's heartfelt tribute, where he penned, "I'm not ready, but here I go," showcased the strength of their relationship and the significant influence Kobe had on him. Kobe's death sparked a profound introspection across the league that went beyond individual sorrow, highlighting how his fierce drive and competitiveness had often been misinterpreted during his career. Athletes who once labeled his mentality as egocentric or detrimental began to see it as a unique style of leadership, one that inspired excellence through example rather than mere comfort. The intricacies of Kobe's influence are perhaps most poignantly reflected in his own words during his farewell tour. At that time, Bryant expressed feeling that everyone disliked him, showcasing his insight into public perception, yet the overwhelming affection and respect he received nationwide contradicted that sentiment. This context is essential to grasp LeBron's recent remarks regarding players' feelings towards Kobe. The animosity wasn't genuinely deep or enduring. Rather, it was Kobe's style that elicited immediate responses, often misconstrued as personal hatred. LeBron's mature understanding of this interplay has been influenced by his growth as a leader and competitor. His methodology has long highlighted teamwork and shared success, showcasing an alternate vision of superstar leadership. However, instead of positioning his approach as superior to Kobe's, LeBron recognizes that various circumstances and unique personalities demand distinct leadership styles. When you engaged in that, despite the option to refrain, as often people would simply accept it and move on, much like the common trend, you know? He claimed, "Shariful, you make me anxious. I thought to myself, I was fortunate to win 3 out of 4 with this guy, but I was a jerk to him." This frank confession from Shaquille O'Neal during their renowned one-on-one interview highlights how even those with the most tumultuous relationships with Kobe eventually acknowledged the moments of genuine care that have been overshadowed by fierce competition. It implies that the animosity many players felt often stemmed from misinterpretation rather than true personal hatred. The key takeaway from LeBron's insights into NBA players' bonds with Kobe is that competitive excellence frequently entails hidden costs that may not be instantly recognized or comprehended. Kobe's pursuit of greatness demanded an intensity and focus that could alienate those not ready for it. Yet for those who could rise to that intensity or learn from it, the outcomes were life-changing. We appreciate your viewership. If you like this video, choose one of the boxes on your screen to explore more related content.